Hey StoryMakers! Welcome back. We are on our last week of creation. I'm so excited to dive into this lesson. I hear it's going to be amazing. But before we dive in to chapter 12, I need you to go grab your zine. We're going to do a little recap. I'll give you 10 seconds. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, now that you've got your zine, I want you to open up to the table of contents, our big yellow page here. So remember, we started at the very beginning. Day 1, light and darkness. God separated the light from the darkness, and then he had to put something there, right? The sea and the sky. He separated the sea and the sky, and then he created lands on the day 3. And then on day 4, we got the planets, the stars, the sun, which is also a star. So when the earth was made, everything up in the universe, right? And then we've got our sea and sky, but what's gonna go there? Well, on day 5, God was like, I'm gonna make birds to go in the air and fish to go in the sea. And then on day 6, he created his favorite creation, humans, you and me. And then on day 7, he took a little snooze because he was definitely tired, and we definitely would have been tired too. And then day 8, the tone shifted. Remember, it got a little serious. He was like, hey, Adam and Eve, see this tree over here? The tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Don't eat from that tree. Everything else is yours, except for that one. And then day 9, or chapter 9, the snake comes and tempts Adam and Eve to eat from the tree in chapter 10. And then they do it. Adam and Eve eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And then in chapter 11, last week, brokenness entered in. Remember, it got really sad. But our big takeaway from last week was that even in those moments where brokenness enters in, where there's sadness, where there's anger, disappointment, really hard, tough feelings, God is right there with us, coming to find us even when we hide. And this week, chapter 12, love and mercy. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen this week. So you've already got your zine. Go get those tools and meet me right back here. All right, guys, let's take a look at our visual for this week. Oh, wow, look at all these colors. That pink color is coming back, guys. It looks so nice. There's the sun streaming in here, and that looks like a bronchiosaurus in the background there, and maybe some pterodactyls up here. A lot of dinosaurs. And this kind of, I think at first glance, kind of looks like a house, but now that I keep looking at it, I wonder if it's like a gate. Like a gate made out of maybe like branches from the trees. And I believe this has to be Adam and Eve. And Adam looks so sad and just like he can't handle it. And Eve too. I wonder what could happen in our story. Well, why don't we pop on over and see what our script is. To this last script of our story of creation.
The last one.
Last one. This one's about love and mercy. So Henry, can you be God?
Sure.
And I'll be the narrator. Let's get started.
I have made clothing for your backs and food for your bellies. You can no longer live beside me in the garden, because if you don't leave, you will live forever in sadness. I love you, and I will make a way for you to come back home to me. even though there seems to be no way.
In God's mercy, the first animal sacrifice was made to clothe and shield Adam and Eve. They were no longer free after eating of the forbidden tree, and they were ashamed, and they longed for their home in Eden. But this is not the end of the story. This is just the beginning of God's story, and He can make a way when everything seems impossible. Whoa! I can't
This is
wait
the
to
end of
see.
the chapter, but not the book.
So true. Thanks, Henry.
You are welcome.
Whoa, guys. In the beginning of the story, there was so much excitement about creation and what the world was about to become. God seemed to be having so much fun creating all these new things. But then Adam and Eve had to be sent away because of what they had done. And it seemed like creation would forever be homesick for the Garden of Eden because a darkness had entered into the world. But even though God had to send Adam and Eve away, God still had a plan to cover and protect them. So how does this surprise in the story make you feel? It makes me feel really sad for Adam and Eve that they had to leave the garden, but also really happy that God is covering and protecting them, right? And also a little curious about what's going to happen next. So how does it make you feel, this surprise, this plot twist in our story? You see, this part of the story and the way that it ends, the way that it kind of twists right there at the end is probably a little confusing, right? Well, consider the following details to help you see what God is up to. 1, God didn't want Adam and Eve to stay in the garden because they might eat from the other tree that was there, the tree of life. And if they ate from that tree, then they would have to live forever in this dark sadness, always feeling sad and disappointed and guilty and icky, right? And number 2, God is sending a message to the whole world that this particular creation, humans like you and me, we are His beloved creation. And one day He would send someone, He would make an ultimate sacrifice and make a way for us to all come back to Him. You see, this is not the end of the story. There would be a new Adam that is on his way, and this new Adam would not be tempted and would be the reason that all of creation would come back home to God. It's going to be really awesome, guys. So it's not the end of the story, simply the end of a chapter in a very long book with 66 parts. So I've got 2 little activities for us to do. So let's pop on over. All right, guys, so our activity this week is a 2-parter. First part is this. I want you to write 3 words that you think describe God throughout this entire story. We have spent 12 weeks really diving into the tone or how our writer, how our creator was feeling, right? So 3 words that describe God through this whole story. My 3 words would be creative, because, those first 6 days, guys, God was being super creative, right? And then I would use protecting. So in chapter 8, when he was telling Adam and Eve about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and this is when the tone shifted, remember? So he just wanted to protect them, right? And then I think my third word would be Emmanuel, which means God with us. So at the end of our chapter today, what we just learned about, right? God had to send Adam and Eve out of the garden, but protected them, right? He covered them. So he was still with them, even in those moments. So I think those would be my 3 words: creative, protected, and Emmanuel. So what would your 3 words be? And once you get your 3 words down, I want you to flip the page of your zine, and we are gonna do some shadow puppets. These are all the shadow puppets you're gonna need to do your own shadow puppet show. So you can show your grown-ups and you can tell them the story of creation. So I already cut out a few of mine. So we'll start here with Adam and Eve, right? But this is where, remember, this is where they're reaching up to eat the fruit. And then this one is where they're hiding. So cut out your puppets. You can use some tape and stick them on a stick or a pencil or a colored pencil or a crayon or a ruler or whatever you have laying around. But get your shadow puppets done, get them cut out, put them on a stick, and do your shadow puppet show for your grown-ups. Guys, have so much fun. This has been an amazing 12 weeks with all of you. And I cannot wait to jump into the next adventure with you. But before we leave today, let's say a little prayer. Dear God, thank you for creating. Thank you for creating us. Thank you for always being with us, coming to find us when we hide. And thank you for always giving us your unconditional love, your grace, and that mercy. In your name I pray. Amen. Well, guys, these 12 weeks have been amazing, and I can't wait to jump into the next adventure with you. And I'll see you there. Bye.